Brad Drew here. Hey, I'm going to take you through a quick process that I use for processing infrared images that I've made on my iPhone. So one of the things that happens when I create an infrared image using the iPhone, a lot of times it requires a high ISO, and that high ISO can lead to a lot of noise in the image that that I don't want to have there. So what I've done, what we're looking at here, is an image taken with the iPhone using an infrared filter, and I believe this was taken with the native camera and with the darker filter on the phone. The camera thinks it's dark out, so it starts night mode, and so the image was taken in night mode. It's about a 1 second exposure, and this is what it looks like. I've transferred it to the desktop and opened it in Luminar 4, and I want to show you just this quick process that I do to bring this image to life. So the first thing I'm going to do over here is go down to, and we're working just with the Pro Raw image. You can see it's a DNG file here. First thing I'm going to do is go down to black and white, and I'm going to convert this to a black and white image. Now I can come down and play with the magenta a little bit. You can see how it's affecting the contrast a little bit, and I might come up and also do that with the red channel and just lift that, or maybe I'll bring it down, but mostly I want to lift that up just a little bit. I might see if yellow, I'm going to leave it about right there. So we've transformed this image and gotten rid of the red tones that occur when we do the infrared. So what I'm going to do now, after converting this to black and white, I want to now eliminate the noise that is in the image. And so to do that, again, we're in Luminar 4, but I'm going to go up and launch a plugin here. And I'm going to use Topaz DeNoise AI. If you've used this software, you know that it is probably, I believe, the best software available today for eliminating noise from images. So you'll notice I just invoked it through Luminar 4. And incidentally, when you install DeNoise AI or Sharpen AI on your computer, and you're running DeNoise AI, there's no installation process that you have to do to set up these denoise or these tools to appear as plugins. They simply they recognize when you install them, and they add them to the edit menu under plugins. So this is the interface. This is the Topaz DeNoise AI interface. The first thing I want to do is come up here to, I'm just going to show you how I do this. And to give you a good idea of what we're going to see, I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to zoom in to 400%. So you can see right now 400% of this infrared iPhone image. And I'm going to leave it in the choose the model standard. Now, if you're interested in these other models, you can click here and it will tell you what each of the models is. If you have a very noisy image, maybe shot with a very high ISO and a low light setting, you might want to use the severe noise. But I'm going to go with standard on this. And the next thing I'm going to do is reset the auto. And what this is doing is the computer is making a decision here saying, hey, I think we need to have the noise removal set to only 2, and we want to enhance the sharpness of the image. So even though this is DeNoise AI, it's going to affect both aspects, sharpening and noise in the image. I'm going to leave this, I'm not going to do anything with these. If we ran this and we wanted to bring back some of the original detail, we could go down here and do that. So what I'm going to do now, I've set this here to show us a split view, so that we can move this slider after we run the to show a preview on the right and the before original on the left. So I've set everything the way I want it to be. Now I'm going to go up here to where it says Update Preview, and this is the button that actually creates the preview for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and you'll notice down below here there was a little. It went very quickly. it went from preview to updated. We have a green line, and we can see that it's been done. Now, if I come and grab the slider here and bring it all the way across, this is the image before there was any sharpening or denoising done. But look at the difference. If you just look at the head of the little figure here, you can see that there's without and there's with. And look at the column. There's without and there's with. It just does a really nice job of removing the little noise that is there. And it really makes a difference, particularly on these iPhone images that we're doing in creating infrared. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead. Once I've achieved what I want there, I'm going to go down and click apply. And it's going to apply these changes and round trip me back into Luminar 4. And you can see now we have added a Topaz DeNoise layer. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is go back to edit, and I'm going to get another plug-in, this time Topaz Sharpen AI. And again, it's going to open the Topaz plugin. There's Sharpen AI, and here we are in the Sharpen AI interface. And once again, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to increase this to about 400% so we can really see what's going on. And I can go up here and just click on auto, and it's going to tell me that it wants to use the too soft model for this image. And I'll go ahead with that. And I'm going to reset the auto here. And so it's going to remove a little bit of blur and suppress a little bit of noise. Now, you can override these if you want, but I'm going to go with the auto settings. And once again, you'll notice down here, it's telling us that the preview is not updated, and we have a red line showing here. I'm going to go up and tap update, and it's uploaded a preview. Now, if I grab the center line, there's before and there's after. It's making just some very subtle changes in sharpness in the image. You can sort of see it a little bit on the flag. If we wanted, I could change this to very blurry and maybe out of focus, so it's a different model. And let's just run that and see if that does anything different or has a better effect. So there's before and there's after. What I'm noticing is this particular one, notice how it's bringing in artifacts around the figure here. So it's really a little bit too much. I'm going to go back to too soft, and I'm going to go to very noisy, and I'm going to run this again. And it's a very subtle difference. There's before and there's after. I can see it on my computer in the slides here. I'm going to go with that. It's a very subtle difference, but I see it, and I'm going to incorporate this into my image. So to do that, I'm going to click apply. And again, it's going to now apply those changes to our image, and it's round tripping us right back into Luminar 4. So the next thing I want to do now, now that I've got my sharpen layer and the other denoise layer, I want to go in now and begin to play with my light here. We haven't really set our white and black point on this image. All we did was convert it to black and white. So if I expand this to show us the advanced settings, you can see I've got a white and black slider here with a histogram. What I'm going to do is take my blacks, and I want to run those over until they're beginning to clip on the left here just a little bit. And then I'm going to take the whites, and I'm going to bring that over until the whites begin to clip down here. You can see on the histogram. So as I look at this now, if I expand, you can see I've got really nice whites, but I'm not blowing anything out. So I'm going to kind of keep that where it is. And then I might come up here and I can play with those shadows. Maybe I want to lift the shadows a little bit. And maybe the highlights, drop them down a little bit, add a little bit of drama to the sky. Sometimes I'll play with sharp contrast or smart contrast here a little bit, and it does a nice job of balancing the contrast between these really dark areas and the bright areas. That's essentially all I'm going to do with that. The next thing I'll do is come down to enhance, and I'm just going to play with the AI enhance a little bit. Sometimes this has a really big effect, more so I think on the color images, but you can see it's changing a little bit. And then I'm going to do sky enhance. Let's just bring it all the way up and see what kind of a difference it makes. I'll zoom in a little bit. It's not really having a great deal of difference or effect on this image. So let's see, let's bring that up. I'm going to go ahead and leave that where it is. The next thing I'm going to do here is structure. And as I increase the structure on the image, it's going to really, let's just bring the structure all the way up, and you can see it's going to make the image gritty. And you know, I want to accentuate the structure in the image, but I don't want to accentuate it up here in the sky. I really want to just do it in this area down here in the figure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to back that off a little bit. And let's just zoom. Let's just zoom in. Well, come on. Why is it not? There we go. Zoom in and take a look at this. If I turn it off, there's without the structure, and I'll turn it back on, and there's with. So it's just bringing out some of the detail in these leaves and in the building. So what I want to do, I'm going to shrink this down a little bit, and I'm going to go and edit my mask on that structure adjustment. I'm going to choose the brush, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush a little bit. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to say, hey, let's put that adjustment of that extra structure down here in this part of the image. I'll paint over a little bit, and then I'm going to go up and I will make my brush smaller so I can come in here, and I'm going to do that on the monument itself. And I'm going really fast here. I think when you do yours, you'll take a little more time, and I'm going to make the brush a little smaller, and I'll get this center column here and kind of get our little guy there. So now I'm going to say done. And now we've applied that adjustment, that structure adjustment, just to those areas that I masked in. So if we turn that off, let's zoom in on it a little bit. And there's without, and there's with. You can just see how it pops that a little bit. The next thing I'll do here is go down to, we could do details enhancer and do the same thing. And so what we could do here is bring our small details up and our medium details up, and see how it's bringing out further detail in the leaves over here and in the concrete. What I could do at this point is the same thing we did with structure. I could go in and mask in that area, so it's really applying that. I don't see that it's adding a whole lot of noise to my sky, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that and not take the time to mask it. But you could. I'll maybe sharpen this up just a tiny bit. So there's, to show before and after. Oops, sorry, come on. To show before and after again, I'm just going to turn off the adjustment right here. There's before, and there's after. So it's just giving a little bit of tooth to this area of the image. The last thing before I do that, okay, so the next thing I want to do, I do eventually want to add a vignette, but the next thing I want to do here, I love the fact that we can also, in addition to Studio 2, Topaz DeNoise AI and Sharpen AI, we can also go up here, and if you have NIK tools like Silver FX Pro, which is fabulous for black and white images, you can invoke that through Luminar 4 as well. So I just clicked on that. It's now bringing up and opening up NIK's Silver FX Pro. And you'll notice over here all of the different presets that you can assign to this. And you can, I often just go through and click on these. There's a full dynamic range. There's a ND filter. Here's a full dynamic range, harsh, they call it. Here's a fine art look, which is kind of cool. You can see there are a whole lot of different ones here. I'm going to go down and choose, let me think, where is it here? I think the full contrast is the one that I liked earlier when I looked. So you can see now I've applied the NIK preset to my image, and look how it's really brought it out the sky a little bit. That, I mean, to me, this is just very cool what it's doing. Now, if I wanted to, I have adjusters over here, and I could go in and affect these different elements of contrast and structure and so forth within NIK if I want. I'm not going to do that right now. You can do that on your own if you think you want to make little tweaks to your image. I'm just going to go down here and click OK. And when I do, it's going to round trip me back with these changes right back into Luminar 4. It takes just a second, but there it is. You can see it's our Silver FX Pro layer. And that's just awesome, I think. Very cool. The last thing I want to do with this is give it a little bit of a vignette. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click Advanced, so that I like to turn on Advanced because once I give it a little amount, I can come down here and drop my feathering. And now I can see the line where my vignette is going to be. So I can reduce the size if I want, and I can also play with the roundness. And so maybe something like that. And then once I get it where I want and the size right, then I can begin to adjust that amount. So you can see here's the darker vignetted area and without. And then if I bring my feathering up, now I've eliminated the line, and we've got this brighter area in here with just a subtle vignette around the image. To me, the best vignette is when you don't even know is there, unless you're going for some other kind of more dramatic effect. So that's it. That's all I'm going to do to the image. And at this point, I just want to zoom in a little bit and look. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's looking pretty good. If I wanted, I could crop this and maybe crop out this bottom step area. Well, let's just go ahead and do that. So what I would do is go over here to my canvas and cropping tools. And I think for this, I'm going to just set this on free crop. And all I'm going to do is bring this up, maybe like that. It was bothering me that there was so much of that space down there, and then done. And there's our image. Now, one last thing that I will do is add my signature to it. I'm not going to go into that right now, but that's it. That's essentially it. Now I'm going to go up here. I'm going to export the image. And I have a special place where I'm placing a lot of the things that I'm doing with Luminar learning here. So I would just name the file. I'll call it James Wickham Riley IR. Demo, something like that. And I'll go ahead and save it. And now it's out. I've saved it out to that area on my external hard drive where I store my work. And if I want to go look at that, just go out to my folder here and pull it up. 21 and Luminar Learning. And here's the image we just looked at. And I can bring it up on the screen here so you can see it full-fledged. I mean, this is an iPhone image. To me, this is remarkable. I do believe that processing it on the desktop with these more sophisticated tools gives you a much better result, but better result than processing on the iPhone alone, although you can do that and get decent results. So anyway, that's it. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to post in the description. I've created a Facebook group for those of us who are doing infrared in the iPhone. And everybody's producing some really cool stuff. Lots of people are sharing things. I've got a class on it that I did last September, and I'm also working on a new and updated class with my collaborator, the wonderful photographer Jack Davis from San Diego. And we hope to have that ready pretty soon. But what we're getting, since I did the original class last September, the new iPhones have come out, the 12 and 12 Pro Max. And there's just a lot we've learned about how to create these images using the iPhone, these infrared images. So I'll include some links to those things. You're welcome to join the Facebook group and see what we're doing there. And until next time, keep on creating.